Hey, this is Coach Katie from Lasting Lifestyle Changes, and I wanted to just make a short video going over how to use a food scale. So first of all, there's a bunch of different types of food scales that you can get. I have this one from Amazon. I think it runs about $10. I can put a link to it, but there's many different digital scales. The really only two functions that I care about is that I can turn it on and that I can change the unit. So I hit the power button to turn it on, and then the power button right here, see how it also says tare? That is gonna make anything that I put on it, if I put an object on it, I can hit this tare button and it'll turn it to 0. And I'm gonna kind of talk about that as I build a smoothie and show you how that works, because sometimes I think that people think that using a food scale can be really hard, and in reality it's a lot easier for you than using things like measuring cups. So if I were to make a smoothie and I wanted to track the ingredients on it and I didn't use a scale, I'd have to use a lot of measuring cups. I'd have to dirty a lot of things in the kitchen. It would make a mess, and I would be accurate, but it would take a lot of time. So with a scale, you're a little bit more accurate. You're able to make less of a mess in the kitchen, and I'll show you how I use it. So I'm gonna change the camera now so that you can see the scale, so you'll hear me talking, but you'll kind of just see the scale so I can show you some things. So this is my food scale. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the cup that I'm going to put the smoothie in on this scale, and I'm gonna hit the tare button. This is gonna make it 0. So anything that I put in this smoothie is going to, it's gonna weigh it. So I'm gonna start with frozen bananas. Something that I wanna talk about real quick is when you track things, these bananas are frozen. I'm gonna make sure I find an entry that says frozen bananas. If I track them simply as bananas, the weight is gonna be different. So anytime you're tracking something, make sure you're using the correct form of how it was processed or what it is. Because, for example, if you purchase French fries and you bake French fries in the oven and you weigh them after you cook them, they're gonna weigh a lot lighter than they were frozen because they're gonna lose water weight. So anytime you weigh something, weigh it how the package depicts it or how it is. This one, for example, is frozen, so I'm gonna weigh frozen bananas. So my scale says 0. I'm gonna put this banana in here. That weighs 76 grams. So when I track my banana in my tracker, I'm gonna track 76 grams of banana. And then I'm just gonna 0 this out. So I'm gonna remember to track 26 grams of banana. I will write that down. Now I have my banana in here. Now I can make my smoothie weigh 0 again. So I'm gonna add some Greek yogurt. And for a serving of Greek yogurt, it's about 170 grams, which is 3/4 of a cup. So if I were to, do a 3/4 of a cup, I would have to get a cup out of the cabinet. I would have to wash it, get it dirty, and it would just kind of be a mess. This way also, if I don't want to put in the whole 170 grams, I don't have to. So I'm only going to put in 143 grams. That way, that's all I have to enter in my tracker. It makes it a little bit more so that you don't have to use a full serving size. So anytime I add an ingredient, I'm just gonna hit the 0 button. That will 0 out my scale. That will be how I add a new ingredient to whatever it is that I'm making. For myself, I tend to weigh things in grams. It's just a little bit more accurate than weighing things in ounces, but you can choose to weigh it however you want. I would just like to say that I think anytime that you start with weighing something and tracking your food, any kind of tracking is going to be a little bit better than no tracking at all, right? So you can always work on getting a little bit more accurate as you go further down the process in your journey, but just starting to get things in your tracker is a great way to get some reps in. So any questions, let me know, but this is how I use a food scale. Pretty simple, really only 2 functions you need. I don't think I hit the other one. The other function is just if I wanted to change the unit. So I could go, I'm in grams now. This is how I would go to ounces. So I have a smoothie right now that weighs about 5 ounces. So any questions, hit me up in the comments. Thanks and have a great day.